Yeah, they create a war. And part of that reset is like they put in a leader, which is going to be a puppet, right?
Yes.
And that's
Accomplish your mission.
exactly.
Champions.
Yeah, yeah.
Have you ever imagined why we're always constantly having war?
Hmm.
Or do you even imagine why this issue of an inflation is a thing?
Yeah.
Today, we'll talk about the Great Reset
Skirt. Reset it.
and why these perpetuating instances would always continue to happen unless we exit the current system.
Yes. Taking action. That's what I say.
So, number one is what I just mentioned, war.
Hmm.
Why do we have wars?
That is a very interesting one. It seems to me, at least, that war is one of those things where a bunch of old people kind of uh, strike up, if you will, perpetuate, initiate as a means of, I think you could use it as deflection or as a means of creating issues that you then show up to resolve.
We go to war because of lies,
Yeah,
not because of reality.
that is true.
We can speak with one another and resolve most issues amicably.
Absolutely.
But because of the truth is hidden,
Yeah.
you eventually go to war over those lies.
Mm,
But the reason why the truth is hidden is so that they can reset all they have screwed up. You screw up with your partner.
yeah,
The reason why you have a divorce is because one person is failing to admit the truth.
that's true.
That is one-on-one human being personal relationship wars.
Yeah.
That is why you have a divorce. The war that we have going on in Israel, in the Middle East, the
Mhm.
war that we're going on in Europe right now with Ukraine and Russia
Yeah.
is because of a bunch of lies.
And it seems like these are lies to keep control, right? Lies to maintain control of, at least in the case of the West, it just seems that these are a group of people that believe that they need to be in control of the rest of the world. And
That's,
so they will do everything that they can, lie to no end to maintain this power, if you will.
and the world does what? Resets, right?
Yes.
Whoever loses is what you now call a reset.
And so maybe you can look at this when you look at places like Africa as well, where you see that it is now a developing continent. It is on the rise. Let's put it that way. Then they want to do a reset. They will kind of refer to things like pollution, right, and trying to achieve carbon neutrality. And you can see that that is one of those things that is extremely unsustainable the way they're going about it. Recently, I don't know, I'm pretty sure this sort of agenda is something that will only be pushed upon another nation. Ethiopia banned the import of gas powered cars, right? They said only electric because we have to achieve carbon neutrality. We're trying to become a smart city, blah, blah, blah. But you see, it's not sustainable because just recently, after they saw the damage that it has uh, inflicted upon their economy, they are now reversing that rule.
Trump already told them,
Yeah.
drill, baby, drill.
They might want to hurry up and reverse that rule, given the fact that they've also taken money from the IMF, which is now slaughtering their currency. Insane.
You see what's going on in Zimbabwe. You see
Yeah.
what's going on in South Sudan. If they do not get what they want,
Yeah.
you go to war.
That is true.
Reset.
They create a war.
Yes.
Yeah, they create a war. And part of that reset is like they put in a leader, which is going to be a puppet, right?
Yes.
And that's
accomplish your mission.
exactly.
The other one, number two,
Yeah.
is they start attacking your food.
Mm,
The GMOs, the engineered foods.
yes.
All of a sudden, you have farming, you have drought, and they call it a geo. It's an environmental issue. Some of it is intentional.
Speaking of engineered food, is there any real food in America anymore?
Good question. Did you hear about the Microsoft? Well, Bill Gates has this little sticker. You know how you have organic?
Yeah, yeah.
There's this new one that Bill Gates has now that is putting on this product saying that it's organic, but whereas it has all these chemicals that would kill you and give you cancer.
You know, it is shocking to me. It's almost like one day we'll walk into the store and you'll be able to see like mangoes and you say mangoes. Then there's going to be real mangoes.
They're doing that with meat right now.
Exactly. It's insane. You will hope that when you go to the store to buy, some beef, you will be buying what it is, beef. In fact, it seems to me that what should be happening with this labeling is that they should be labeling the fake stuff, right? So if there is beef somehow on the shelf, they should say laboratory grown beef. That is what should be indicated. It should not be the norm. The norm should be the normal stuff. Absolutely insane.
And you know why we have this?
Why is this?
More centralized control.
Yeah.
Do we need the FDA? What's the USDA doing? If the FDA is really doing their job, or the USDA is really doing their job, why do we have this type of food allowed in the groceries?
I mean, I think I used to have so much faith in the FDA, okay, and USDA. I was like, you know what? We are eating some healthy food here. This is beautiful. There's people who will really take their time out to make sure that what you are eating is healthy. But then when they rolled out those COVID vaccines, man, I was like, Lord have mercy. The FDA, USDA has failed us. They've put all the rules into the garbage can. This does not feel right. Listen, man, I took the jab myself. But
just to keep a job.
There is times when you have to make certain sacrifices. You weigh the circumstances. Okay. Just to keep a job, man. So it's insane.
I really do think that's another type of reset button.
That is a reset, yeah.
Change the food.
Yeah.
Change their health so that they rely more on you. If you're sick all the time because of the food you eat, you depend on them.
Do you think we're going to get to a point where eating natural food is going to be only a thing for the luxurious people, the rich and wealthy?
In my neighborhood, you got to go through the homeowners association to get approval to have a garden.
By the way, man, anyone who is on a homeowners leadership group, man, let me tell you something. You're doing the devil's work. You're doing the devil's work. Okay. Now the next thing when it comes to this great reset is about pricing, right? You see higher prices, less and smaller goods sizes, right? Yep. Essentially hyperinflation. So there is this extreme inflation that generally happen, and then they normalize it. You're not going back. Look, you have clowns like Jerome Powell. We're sitting over there going, "Oh, we're going to try to achieve 2 point something%." Which, first of all, that 2 point
is stealing the hell out of you.
Yeah, it's stealing. Why are we at 2%?
It's 3%. You must well call it 3%.
Exactly. So that is not going to happen. And then what is going to happen over time is that it seems that this will become normalized. Right. And people will just accept that this is what it is.
Maybe now.
Yeah, I mean, maybe minimum wage and everything will sort of rise up. But I think one thing that is becoming very clear right now is that as part of a reset, there is a clear separation in tax brackets. You're either very well doing or you're kind of trending backward.
If you see in the stock market, if not for the recent crash, companies were making extreme profits.
Exactly.
Whereas the rest of the Americans were like, man, we're struggling.
Yeah. Living life is just going to be something for the rich soon. Yep. Going outside is going to become a luxury at some point in time because less and less people are able to afford cars. Less and less people will be able to afford a house. I mean, I'll take myself for an example, right? When I look at the housing market in the United States, it's not something that I'm willing to jump into because then all that will mean for me is that I need to work extremely hard for an environment that is not necessarily aligning with my values or what I'm trying to achieve. There's kind of two ways I look at it, right? If you're trying to start a business, you kind of need to put yourself in a situation where the odds are more aligned in your favor. Right?
Lower expenses so that you can focus on the business.
Exactly. If you buy a house, let's say you're a single person making 6 figures or something like that, and then you buy a house, you have a car. I'm trying to figure out how many jobs do you need to work to be able to cover those bills and still invest in your dreams? There is only 24 hours in a day. The math stops making sense at some point. It's very interesting. But what you find in that situation is that you are now in a box under the reset, if you will, right? Because you have to spend time trying to cover bills. This is time that is being taken away from you, right? Trying to cover bills, maybe pay off student loans and all that kind of stuff before you save
to start your
business or pursue your dreams. At this point in time, while you're doing that, all the money that you're working is being taken from you in taxes. And by the time, let's say you pay off your student loans and pay off everything, by the time you get to that point, guess what?
You're 50 or 60 years old.
Exactly. And now you no longer have the energy.
Time to reset you.
You've been reset, my boy. But here's what is even scarier. You might get to that 50, 60 years old and you're like, all right, it's time to do this.
Yep.
And inflation will hit you again.
Oh, sure. Or you find out that the food that you've been eating that's gotten you sick. Now you got cancer.
Exactly. Damn. What do you do then? Right? So I think it is wise to be paying attention to these things. Otherwise, you're just going along for a ride that you have no control over, because it seems to me that these people have, I mean, they have all the data, right? They have the banks. The banks knows what everyone has in their bank account.
If you know how your money flows, they know everything about you.
Yeah. So with that information, they can kind of navigate, right? And push people towards the direction that they want.
You fall within the range of that reset.
Exactly.
They can reset you.
This is why I think it is not a coincidence that when a large group of a generation is about to retire, right? We can look at say like our parents, right? At the point most of them are approaching that retirement age, and the stock market crashes. Suddenly they're not able to retire as they expected they would. This is not the first time that has happened. If you're looking at someone in our generation, for people like me in my situation, it's like, well, you thought you were going to be able to afford a house, but now here you are and you cannot afford a house. And what that means in the simplest terms is that you're going to have to work longer to be able to afford the same things. That means it's theft of your time. But yeah.
We can talk a lot deeper about that, but I think we should promote that for another video.
Yeah, we can move that for another video.